For centuries, the Nez Perce freely roamed the lush mountains and valleys where Oregon, Washington, and Idaho come together today. Their name, which means pierced nose in French, was given to them by French explorers. The French had confused the Nez Perce with other Indians who decorated their noses with pieces of shell. In reality, the Nez Perce did not usually pierce their noses or wear nose ornaments. When horses arrived in the Northwest in the 1700s, the Nez Perce became expert riders and horse breeders. They developed their own special breed, the Appaloosa. These beautiful spotted horses were fast and strong. The Nez Perce trained them to ride into stampeding buffalo herds and single out one animal for the kill. The Nez Perce treasured their homeland and way of life. But after the Civil War, more and more settlers came from the east to settle in the Pacific Northwest. The world of the Nez Perce would never be the same. For decades, the Nez Perce were among the friendliest of all Western Indians towards whites. In 1805, they saved Lewis and Clark and their expedition from starvation. They were also friendly with the first trappers, traders, and missionaries who came to the Northwest. The Nez Perce had never killed a white person. Americans' hunger for land and riches finally broke that friendship. In the 1860s, miners swarmed over Nez Perce land looking for gold. Settlers followed. Some Nez Perce signed treaties in which they agreed to give up their land and move to a reservation in Lapwai, Idaho. Other members of the Nez Perce tribe refused to sign any treaty. One of these no-treaty groups of Nez Perce lived in the Wallowa Valley of eastern Oregon. It was led by a man whose Indian name meant thunder rolling in the mountains. The settlers called him Chief Joseph. In 1877, representatives of the U.S. government presented Chief Joseph with a terrible choice. "You can give up your land peacefully and move to Lapwai," they told him, "or Army troops will come and force you to relocate there." Fearing a war he could not win, Chief Joseph agreed to move. "I would give up everything," he said, "rather than have the blood of white men upon the hands of my people." That summer, 700 Nez Perce left the Wallowa Valley, their hearts filled with bitterness. One night, a group of angry young warriors slipped out of camp and murdered several whites. Chief Joseph knew that the killings would bring soldiers to punish his people. For the first time, the Nez Perce would be at war with the whites. The soldiers came. Still hoping to avoid war, Indians carrying the white flag of peace came forward to talk. The troops opened fire anyway. Minutes later, 34 soldiers lay dead. "I've been in a lot of scrapes," reported a survivor, "but I never went up against anything like the Nez Perces in all my life." In desperation, the Nez Perce headed for one place that they might still live free, Canada. For the next 3 months, Chief Joseph led the U.S. Army on a chase of more than 1,000 miles through the rugged mountain country. Although greatly outnumbered, his warriors won several battles. The chase ended less than 40 miles from the Canadian border. Forced to surrender, Chief Joseph spoke his heart in these words: "I am tired of fighting. Our chiefs are killed. The old men are dead. It is cold and we have no blankets. The little children are freezing to death. My people, some of them have to run away to the hills and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are. Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever." After their surrender in 1877, Chief Joseph and his followers were sent to a barren reservation in Oklahoma. There they began to fall sick and die. Soon they had a cemetery just for babies, with more than 100 graves. Chief Joseph begged the government to allow his people to join the rest of the Nez Perce in Lapwai. Although some did go to Lapwai, others, including Chief Joseph, were sent to the Colville Reservation in Washington in 1885. They never went back to their homeland. When Chief Joseph died in 1904, the doctor listed the cause of death as a broken heart.